Hello, students. It was quite an introduction for me. Thank you. Um, it was on a very, very brief call that I came here, and I was told that this is going to be an interactive session. You guys are intelligent enough, capable enough, and that's why you plan it up here. Since it's going to be a very interactive session, we will start with something informal. I would like to know, you landed up here for this particular course. What brings you here? Is it your passion? Because I don't think so. It's like engineering or doctor where your parents must have pushed nahi jao and do this masters or bachelors in sustainability and environment. There must be something in your mind. Or is it like you heard from your friend, it's like an in thing, it's going to be the future. Let's deep dive into it. What was that? Few honest replies from any one of you. Come on, guys. You're warming up. Yes.
I think like from very young age, I was very connected to nature. I used to do nature camps and stuff, and I also had an interest in bio. So I wanted to do something that's like an intersection of both. And I didn't really want to go into the medical field because that wasn't my area. So that's how I started researching, reading up and writing about the environment. And yeah, that's how I.
So you were born with this.
Around 10, I started developing an interest. I started
Very
reading
nice.
body tourism and things like that.
That's anybody else? Yes.
Yeah.
You have to tell me your name.
I'm Dhyan.
Yeah. Yes,
Second,
yeah.
second year.
All right.
I simply just really like biology, and my mother did push me to take this course.
Okay. She knew about this sustainability and environment thing.
Well, not the course itself, but she knew about the field, the benefits.
Yeah. Yes. Who else?
Vamika.
Vamika.
So I always wanted to work about my environment, and I can say that's my passion. So that's
Yes. Nobody from this side. Yes, guys. The back benches.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You tell me.
So my name is Tashir.
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 All right, Tashir.
And I'm in second year. And the reason I got this course is because I come from an agricultural background. So from the very beginning, I've always been enthralled with the environment, different prospects, and then I've certain interest in the wildlife sector. And so it just pushed me to make my groundwork stronger. So yeah, it's something like that.
Anybody else?
So clear that my names are first year student meetings. As a clear I have an inclination towards nature and environment. Basically, that's my passion to work for protection.
So, guys, what I could gauge from this warm-up session with you all is, and I don't blame you for this, you're just starting out. This is all about environment for you right now. If you have chosen this as your field, as your career, because this was not a joke, right? You've already started on this journey. This is not only about environment. This is about sustainability. This is about sustainable living. How many people here know about the 3 pillars of sustainability? 3 elements of sustainability. Yes.
environment, social,
And
economic.
governance. ESG. But yes, it's a good attempt. It's about profit, people, and planet. Are we covering everything now? Like, we are just not talking about environment. It's about people, profit, and planet. Now we are covering all the 3 elements. Why profit is essential when we are talking about planet? Is profit so required? Is it more important than saving, conserving the environment? Because all of you seem to be like environmentalists already. Is profit so important? Is it? Yeah.
And from our perspective, being environmentalist, we will be biased and say profit is not important. There are there are greater things to chase after. But if we want change, we need people. If we want people, we need to generate profits. Otherwise, we can't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what happens is a good environmentalist also needs to be a very good judge of profit. Unless and until you know that there is a project or there is something which is essential, which is mandatory to be done, then it has to be done within few boundaries. You can create few policies around it. Why profit is essential? Because unless and until we make money, the companies make money, your economy thrives, you cannot do anything about the environment. We have already moved way ahead as far as this is concerned. You already have started your curriculum, right? And in that, you might have read a lot about how to conserve environment, what to do about saving the biodiversity. Here I am as an entrepreneur, and probably you may benefit out of my own experiences because when I started as an entrepreneur, it was 14 years back. So my child, Vision 360 Management Consulting, which is my organization, is a teenager already. It's 14 years young organization. And when we deep dived into consulting or policy advocacy, long time back, 14 years back, there was not much talk about sustainability. There were only UN goals for 2030. How many of you here know about UN SDGs? I'm expecting all the hands to go up. And you know about all the 17 principles? Somebody needs to tell me all the 17 principles.
Should I recite?
If you can.
I
I would be most glad because most of the people do not remember.
First is true poverty, second is zero hunger, third is good health, fourth is quality education, fifth is gender equality, sixth is water and sanitation, seventh is renewable energy, eighth is really infrastructure.
It's 9.
That's right. So eighth is I think economic development. Decent work and economic growth. Ninth is industry infrastructure and innovation. Tenth is uh, tenth, that was I think reduce inequalities. 11th was sustainable cities. 12th is sustainable production and consumption. 13th, 13th is climate action. 14th is life underwater or life. I get confused with life underwater. And 15th is life on land. 16th is institutions to achieve the goals. 17th is partner.
My favorite is 17th because it is all about partnerships and collaborations. When we talk about the 3 elements of sustainability, SDG 17 becomes most important. We cannot, now is not the time to work in silos. If somebody is passionate about pursuing goal number, for example, SDG 3, and somebody else here wants to pursue SDG 30, or because you are from the agricultural background, probably you would be interested in something else. But this is not the time where we can say that I am working alone in this. I want to be an activist. No. This is the time where we have to join hands, and that's why 17 goals, which are all intertwined. When I was coming here, I asked you as well and Naveen that what exactly would I be talking about because I'm an entrepreneur and I bring in a lot of practical exposure because as I said, 14 years is not a less time. And then it was 4 years back before before COVID, actually, when we started really working seriously on this particular field, sustainability and environment. And believe you me, it's overwhelming. So when you go out of this college, and if you are not prepared, if you have not thought about your niche, what you want to do. If it is like environment, it's going to be a big bad world for you. What exactly? There'll be many people today who call themselves, even you might have seen on social media, environmentalists or enthusiasts. What's the definition of that? I'm an enthusiast. I don't like my temperatures to be extremes. So what am I doing about it? So you'll find a lot of enthusiasts here in the entire world and a lot of consultants. सब चाहते हैं तो कुछ consulting देना, कुछ advice देना to everybody. But when it comes to your career, there should be one thing or two things that you need to pursue. And the time is now. And then you'll have to ask yourself that, okay, I'm talking about environment, but what exactly in that? Which element would I want to cater to? Do I want to cater to people? If I want to talk about people, probably for me, the social sector is my life's calling. And then you'll have to start working towards it. What is social sector? NGOs, right? Or probably if your family has a business, most of the bigger corporations in India, or even not so big, but every organization today is trying to create a balance for profit and not for profit. For example, in my case, I have a for profit organization, which is Vision 360, which is a consulting organization. And then I have a not for profit organization, which is Bodhi, through which I am carrying out few initiatives which are exactly on these lines, where on one side I'm guiding my clients, there is another side where I'm just voluntarily doing things for people and planet, and that's not for profit. Now coming back to entrepreneurship, how many of you here are looking forward to entrepreneurship? एक दिमाग में there is this कीड़ा where you are thinking, okay, few years down the line, I want to be an entrepreneur. ऐसा है कोई? Of course, obviously. All right. Quite a many. As a, why do you feel that entrepreneurship may be your life's calling?
My dad is an author. He has his own startup consultancy.
Okay.
I've grown up watching him work. And one of my goals in life is probably, if I go down that path, would be to start my environment consultancy.
All right. Very nice. Anybody else?
Entrepreneurship in a sense, because you go for environment, you need funds, you need connections, and somewhere entrepreneurship can give you a schedule or maybe funds to work more aggressively in that direction.
I'll give you direction there later on. Yes.
I think my answer is the same as the last one. That's how I've grown up. So I actually kind of don't know what's another way to like corporate life because I've never seen it. And being brought up in such an environment, I think I have that kind of a mindset to start my own business. Get a lot of people. Yeah, so put that in function.
All right. Anybody else from this side? This side is silent. Why? I won't let you guys sleep. Anybody? Yes, you. Yes. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
My parents are both business. My dad has always sort of pushed me to do something of my own. Never had the idea of going into a 9 to 5 job. I don't think I could ever make that.
So, few things, guys. When we talk about entrepreneurship, like a corporate job, it's more serious of a business. You're playing with your own money, right? Or probably playing with your parents' money. But for how long? What's the coffers? Not everybody is Ambani, Adani, Jindals here, right? So when we're talking about entrepreneurship, again, you'll have to create a niche for yourself. Your parents found a niche for themselves. That this is precisely what I'm good at. This is precisely I dabbled with and I wanted to do. But you may differ. You may want to do entrepreneur. You may want to create your own brand, but in some other field, in environment. Coming back to you, you said funds, money. That's of real shortage here. Real shortage. If you're talking about getting the funds for your NGO or for your business venture from anybody, believe you me, it's really difficult to extract money out of somebody else's pocket and tell that person, invest in me. Even donations. Few thousand of them donations is always good for everybody. But it's really, really difficult to run an organization when it's about day-to-day challenges. So guys, if you have that thing in you where you know that you will be able to sustain, where you know that you have that feeling in you, I have that bandwidth in me, probably I can work for a few years. And that's a very practical advice that I'm giving you because I've been through that, done that. So it's always better to get something from somebody else's kitty, like the experience, and not reinvent the wheel again and again. It's always better. You can just double up your experience by taking somebody else's experience out of it. So if you feel that probably there are two things that are possible. You can build up your own coffers if you are really serious about entrepreneurship, and then you can build up your own experience. It's always better to work for somebody else for a few years. Come out of your confines. Come out of your comfortable zone. Comfort is the biggest killer. Both when you're talking about entrepreneurship or you're talking about the corporate world. Comfort is the killer. Comfort is the killer right here as well. If as a student you feel this is my comfort zone, अच्छा लग रहा है, this is good, air conditioned classroom, I can get passing marks, करना क्या है, इसके बाद I've got my business, probably I can start an entrepreneurship, life is all set. No. Here starts your journey, and believe you me, whatever you're trying to become in your life, you all are on the same platform right now. You're just starting the race. Whatever you are, whatever you're wanting to become. So if you're talking about even entrepreneurship, I would suggest you all to go out, to explore, to work for somebody else. Actually get your hands dirty. Even if your parents might have done that, ask them. They'll be most happy to just let you go. जाओ 3-4 साल काम करो, work for 5 years, earn your own money, gather your own experience, build up your own. Probably you have your parents backing, perfect. But you will be richer by experience. The world outside from here is actually a big, bad world. Especially now, when we are a global village, when there is a cutthroat competition. Believe you me, it's a cutthroat competition out there. Nobody can tell you better than an entrepreneur. Why? Because when you're pitching for an assignment, if you're pitching for your service or your product, whatever it is, I'm not even talking about money right now. I'm just talking about whatever expertise you have, you're pitching yourself for that. For that also, you have to convince the client why the client should pay you 10,000 more. Can you believe it? It has come down to that because there is global expertise available. There are consultants sitting outside, there are people sitting outside. Everything is happening virtually thanks to COVID. We have got used to that fact, online, offline, hybrid. So you have to get yourself ready for this. Second thing, which I would like to talk about, and I discussed that with Naveen as well today morning, is about a very important thing when we talk about the three elements. We talk about people. And in today's time, my conversation with you guys would be incomplete if I do not talk about mental health. How many of you actually think about this as a subject, as something of interest to you? Or probably you think that this is something which needs to be discussed. And I'll tell you why I asked you. You can be very, very honest here. Nobody is going to judge you because talking about mental health doesn't make you mad or crazy. I'm glad that you raised your hand. Why I spoke about this, guys? Um, Again, coming back to my own experience. As an entrepreneur, I have many stories, like thousands of stories. I can sit with you guys for like many, many days at a stretch and probably give you real life examples, what I felt, what I experienced. In my own organization, I have, that was not intentional, but I have a very good ratio, like 80% girls and 20% boys, and I'm not biased. It just happened like that, very consistently. So, gender biased, you can call me, biased towards girls. But anyway, ways, that was on a lighter way. Many young bloods, many young girls, boys, and slight this thing with a colleague, and they will come up with a long note which talks about how the mental health is suffering, how they would like to switch the job, how they would like to take a break from the career. Guys, this is the time when I said that this is your comfort zone and this is your learning ground as well. You'll have to take this opportunity to groom your mind as well, very, very consistently. This is the most beautiful machinery. Your mind is the most beautiful machinery created by God. Even Chandrayaan is not such a finest machinery because that is man made. Do not underestimate its power, your mind's power. So you have to consistently groom yourself for the lonely race outside of this campus. So, whenever I talk about the entire portfolio, when I talk about the three elements, I always talk about this, that very consistently you'll have to tell yourself that I'll have to be stable. Also, the third thing that I would like to talk about when you're talking about sustainability and environment as your career subjects, this, you've chosen an excellent domain. The reason is this is going to be the future and this is the present. If we are not talking about climate, if we are not talking about the environment, probably we are not doing justice to anything, right? So what is happening is, because there are so many career choices available, a lot of young bloods, what they're doing is 6 months, they're working with a particular firm. For example, they're working with me, which is a consultant. 6 months enough, and then probably for few thousand bucks more, they switch the job. And then for few more months, they go to a sector which is into manufacturing. Another 12 months, they go to some other sector, which is again a service sector. Then social sector. What they gain out of 10 years is nothing. Because at that level, where you reach the level of vice president or AVP, there they require a specialization in you. What is your niche? And your niche is nothing. You're just jack of all trades. Who wants to be the jack of all trades throughout his or her life? Anybody here? Jack of all trades? You want to be the jack of all
Jack of all
trades?
trades, because at least it gives me a perspective as to for me, I have like agriculture and aquaculture. That's my segment, and it's a very wide segment for me. So it is important for me to have some knowledge of all the sectors because it's important for my expansion plan.
But again, your niche is agriculture and aquaculture. That's what I'm saying. You can be the
I'm saying-
jack of all trades, but master of one.
And sales, it's important for me to find who to sell my product to, who will be a better finder for me, who's going to give me that right price. Procurement, for that.
What's your domain?
Marketing.
What are you doing it for? You're doing it for your own business, right? You're talking about agriculture and aquaculture. Your life is sorted, my dear friend. I haven't seen more determined, more focused person here. I'm glad that you're so young and you've pre-decided everything. And that's really nice. You're already working on it. See the clarity. That's what I'm talking about. That you have to be very clear. It's not that I want to be an entrepreneur. क्या करना चाहते हैं? I want to do a corporate job. क्या करना चाहते हैं? Which sector? Give yourself time. And this is the time where you can think about it. That's precisely what I'm saying. You're more sorted. Probably because you've seen it at your home. Probably because you've hardships होती हैं business में. Probably you might have seen those things, ups and downs. Yes.
I've been doing it for the past almost 3 years now.
That's why you know. But you're sorted. You know your road. That's what I'm talking about. You're not going to go here and there. You will just upskill yourself. And life is a lifelong learning, which should not stop. Now, if I come back to stability, guys, I'll again come back to that. Give yourself time in an organization, in a sector. Probably you may not like the employer. Perfect. मुझे बहुत mental harassment हो रहा है और probably what my JD was given, I am not given those tasks right now. I'm not growing in this organization. Perfect. Leave it. Move on. But it cannot be the case every time. अगर ये case every time है, then the problem is with you. The problem is with your mindset. You'll have to realign your goals there. Are you getting me? It's a very practical thing that I'm talking about. How many of you here, when you're talking about environment, have heard about a concept known as greenwashing? Lovely. What's that? Yes.
So basically, greenwashing is that when you say that I'm taking so and so measures to protect the environment or towards sustainability, but actually you're not taking any measure at all. It's basically painful persons. So that's greenwashing. Like H&M has done it.
Very nice. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Basically misleading the customer or end consumer, and misguiding them and misinformation.
Absolutely. And you guys are not going to indulge in that. Right? Maybe if you're working in an organization, wherever you're working, and you're under the pressure. But if you really want to be called environmentalist in the truest sense of the word, you're not going to fudge the data. Every organization does that. Every organization, if I'm talking about, is every organization. It's not only H&M. It's just that few of them, they get caught. Because they get maybe blatant or they're not just towing the line somewhere. But greenwashing in any form is wrong. And that is a concept which is very close to my heart because as a consultant, I come across many instances every time with each client of mine, whether here in India or globally. You picked up the subject of this brand, H&M. When we're talking about this particular thing, how many of you believe in a concept of sustainable living? What is exactly sustainable living? First, we'll talk about sustainable living and then we'll come to the concept. What exactly do you understand? Because that's the most basic thing if you're a student of this particular course. Yes.
It's basically minimalistic, like minimizing and also using the resource efficiently, not overusing.
To minimize your carbon footprints. Anybody else?
I think it could also mean that your values and ethics should be sustainable, like your mindsets should be sustainable, so that your lifestyle is also like that, also reflects.
Exactly. That's a more broader concept and element. Anybody else?
I think another aspect would be like that there is limit to amount of waste production in your lifestyle. And also
Alright. So, and how many of you have indulged in this concept of responsible clothing or conscious clothing? What H&M offers. Have you picked up clothes? Conscious brands, conscious clothing. Do you feel it is actually conscious clothing? Or it can come under sustainable living? Do you really feel? What is sustainable living then? Sustainable living, an important parameter, an important aspect is circularity. Circular economy. If you are talking about environment and if you are talking about sustainability, there can nothing be without the concept of circular economy. Is it a fancy term? Glamorous? Circularity is a glamorous term, or our ancestors were already doing it? They were doing it, right? The t-shirts, tops that you're wearing, that was used as a duster at most of the homes. Or maybe the kitchen waste that now we say it's like a green garbage bin or a blue garbage bin, and here you have to put waste, dry waste, and here you have to put wet waste. Were they doing it earlier? They were more simplified. They were just picking up the kitchen waste and putting it in your kitchen garden. There was no fertilizer. That was the fertilizer. That's a classic example of circularity, circular economy in practice. What our ancestors were doing, they were far more richer in knowledge than all of us. We'll have to just simplify our experiences, what we are learning here in the classrooms. We just have to get the crux of that. And that will make you the most successful professional here. Not these talks. Right now, few people like me from different sectors will come and give their gyan to you guys, most of which you might be knowing already. And aisa bhi lagega, oh, what she's talking about, we already know, we've already learned, we've already seen, right? It's just reiterating what Domino's does. We already know what Domino's is, but it's just the brand recall. It's just that telling you again and again, this is me, this is me. So it's like telling you those simple concepts again and again. But guys, it's always going to be you, your niche, what you want. I cannot drag you into consulting. I cannot tell all of you, come join me tomorrow after this. Consulting may not be your forte. Social sector maybe, manufacturing maybe. You might be wanting to put a particular supply chain in order. And for that, you'll have to get yourself prepared right now, both mentally, physically, and as she said, ethically, which is sustainable living. Ethics is very, very important part, both in the corporate world and entrepreneurship. Basically, that's the essence of life right now. There is no escape. And I want you guys to speak up because this is an interactive session. So I would request you all to shoot some questions if you want, rather than feeling a little, we have to pass 15, 20 minutes more or half an hour more. Let's get going.
if you
Since you have been like the real world example of how a circular economy would actually work in a corporate, or if you have given any consulting for like a real world, like a practical example of how it's put into practice in the corporate world.
Circular economy. So as I said, why I gave you the example of responsible clothing or conscious clothing. You know the southern belt is mostly known for the textiles, right? And a lot of organizations there are coming up with the concept of, again, conscious clothing. Maybe the reason is to please the investors, the foreign investors, or to just keep them in check. Because they have a lot of do's and don'ts as far as ESG is concerned. So there's a client of mine. I would not like to name them because that's not ethical on my part. But their audit was pending. And the audit was, as part of the supply chain management, was supposed to be done by their investor, which was a French company. And you know how these guys are, French, Germans. Whether they are ethical about the entire thing or not, but they are very stringent. If it is A, it has to be A. If there is a comma after A, there has to be a comma after A. So if they want that there should be best ESG practices in your company, and only then you will have the successful audit completed as far as the supply chain management is concerned, or circularity is concerned, which was a very, very important parameter in that, then you'll have there was a marking system. You have to come up with flying colors in that. Now, we knew that we'll get our money only if my client will pass on with those flying colors and this guy will get the funding. But instead, what we did was we were very stringent about it because we knew that in their factories there was child labor. And the circular economy practices that were supposed to be done, they were not getting done. In the sense, there was a lot of water wastage, and they were talking about conscious clothing. We reported that. We reported that to the audit report that we submitted had all those parameters mentioned that this is where this guy is faltering and they did not get the funding. And we lost the money. Do we do that every day? I'll be very honest, no. But that was a blatant misuse of everything, right from the child labor to not introducing the circular economy practices, to lying, point blank, not having adequate washrooms for the female workforce, as simple as that. And we had to, because obviously as entrepreneurs, I'm also an enthusiast, climate enthusiast. So we had to take that call, but these calls are not regular. We know that there are companies, and almost all the companies, that falter on these lines. But then that's your call. अब business बंद करके भी कोई नहीं बैठ सकता, neither me nor them. And if you're talking about like doing all the structural changes in your policies right now, probably it'll incur a lot of expenses. Can you do that? Can you build your Rome today overnight? No, Rome wasn't built overnight. So what you can do is you can lay out your policies that, okay, this is my sustainability roadmap. This is my 3 to 4 years roadmap. I will work like this, and that's how we suggest to our clients, and that's how we live there.
So my question is, you mentioned that we should all have clarity in what we need to do. Like, when did you decide that you're going to go to consultancy?
All right. So I was mostly a scholar, and I have 3 masters and I'm a company secretary. So there was this thing in me that I really want to make it really good in the corporate world. And I started my journey with HSBC Bank. When I was picked up there, as I said, sometimes the JDs do not match. So I was picked up, but my JD did not match. But still, I was somewhere I got really good mentors there. I always say that in the corporate world, even in the real life, you have people, I term people as pets. And then I picked up from a very good book, Secret. I don't know how many of you have read the book Secret by Rhonda Byrne. There's a particular terminology that I picked up for life, and that was PET. Personal emotional trainers. Everybody is a personal emotional trainer for you, even your parents, even your colleagues or your friends. You know what are best pets? The toughest people, those which are really grumpy, cranky, mean to you, because they teach you the life lessons. So I got a lot of mean pets there because that's a global bank. I was fresh out of college and I had too many degrees. So I had everything which made my back very, very stiff. What means back stiff is like I had my own egos, which I called self-esteem at that point in time. But I really did not want to budge. I did not want to step out of my comfort zone. See, I have this qualification, and please, I don't want to do this. This is menial in my head. This was I supposed to do. You told me this JD. Outside of this JD, I can't do anything, and you can't push me for that. So that was my attitude at that moment. And then, as life has its own ways, gradually, I still stuck to that organization, and I had beautiful mentors, taught me a lot. I had very good colleagues over a period of time because I sustained. I was stable. After that, there were 2, 3 more jobs which I did in the banking sector. And then my life's calling was my own this thing, my own job. And my husband got shifted to Delhi. And here we decided to take a plunge. Now that plunge costed us our mental health, big time. Because we both took the plunge together. And it took us a long, long time to build up the organization, at least 4, 5 years. 4, 5 years journey as an entrepreneur was like, there were moments when you really want to give up. There are moments where you feel that this is the end. I mean, yahi khatam kar do. This, I'll do whatever somebody will tell me. There is no ego left. There is no self-esteem left. And my dear friends, this is, if I talk to you, probably you might resonate with this particular thing that business people, they hardly have ego because there are no friends and foes. उस time दुनिया ऐसे लगती है like everybody is mine and nobody is mine. This is my job, I have to get this done. But reaching that stage is not this easy. Like just talking and making fun like 2 people have the same kind of experience. No. It's a lonely journey. If I'm sitting here in front of you after 14 long years, after building up 6 organizations, I have 6 organizations in different sectors, but all related. I don't feel arrived even at this moment. Seriously. Because for me, it's going to be a lifelong learning. Entrepreneurs or even in the corporate world, especially the field that you have picked up, the sustainability and environment, believe you me, it's going to be challenging. Every day things are changing. The disclosure norms are changing. The governments across the world, they are talking about one shared resource, planet, and they don't have the common policies. We have 600 disclosures across the globe. We are evaluating each other on different parameters. I'm not trying to kind of threaten you. Itni jaldi lag raha hoga, she's sitting here and she's talking big and we are just like so young. Why is she talking like that? Kind of just bringing down our morale. No guys, I'm not trying to bring down your morale. I just want to tell you that you need to inculcate very, very basic things right now. 2, 3 things. One, I told you that you need to be stable in whatever you're trying to do in your life. Second thing, just be calm, create your own niche systematically. आज ही कुछ नहीं हो जाएगा, but you'll have to think about it. think about ke liye, you have time. You have these years when you're studying. You can dabble with a lot of things, do your research, go back to your library, read a lot, read the crap also. कुछ मिलता है, पढ़ लो. Environment sustainability में, even the governments, believe you me, they are just dabbling with different concepts. कि कुछ best हाथ लग जाए. But there is nothing that is happening. They are coming with something with the best intents. We are following that. And then probably next year or the next year, they change the disclosure norms. Companies are grappling with it. Even Jindals are. Right now, 2 of my clients are Jindal group of companies, and they are one of those best organizations. I was sharing that with Naveen. Very, very good culture, but grappling with the disclosure norms. Jindals are known for very environment friendly policies because most of the organizations are carbon intensive. And as I said, this has become like a global village. You can't say, I am an entrepreneur or I am an industrialist. मेरा काम तो सिर्फ इंडिया से है, so I'll follow only Indian legislations or disclosures. No. So what I want you guys is to read Indian disclosures or foreign disclosures globally, whatever is best. Kachra bhi lage, read that. You will gain something out of it. Mark my words. Whatever field you pick up, whatever sector you pick up, irrespective of that, because there are certain commonalities everywhere. And that's how I'm you. Anybody else? I would like to pick up people now. Who'll speak up? You. Something. Maybe you can share your experience and I can add up something to that.
So I think
I need your name.
okay. So I'm Vaishnavi. I am also interested in wanting to be an entrepreneur one day.
All
And
right.
one
but you
thing
can
that-
pick up your hand
Huh?
at that time. I didn't see your hand go up.
No, I actually did raise my hand.
All right.
So my biggest takeaway I think would be that work first. I always thought about it, but I don't think it was in my perspective as much to the need to work before to collect the experience. I think the way we look at it is very you know it's all rainbows and sunshine.
It's not, my dear.
Yeah, but yeah, we need that experience first. We need to know what we really want to do before we just jump into something.
Intentionally choose hardships for yourself. In your initial years, what I mean by hardships is not garibi mein rehna. I won't earn anything. That day she said, intentionally choose hardship. That's not what I mean. What I mean is your intent should be to become richer by experience. If you're working for somebody else, you will understand their perspective. You will understand that there is a world outside your comfort zone. And that is so required. Parents को देखा है बचपन में when we were very very young, बहुत सारी चीजें होती थी, गिरने देते थे हमें. Struggle on your own. Somebody slapped you, okay, that's all right. You go and slap back, probably. Most of the parents. Why? Because they wanted to introduce you to that world, which is a different world outside your home. And that's precisely what you have to do now. It's just that your parents are not around for that. I mean, to guide you in this. They are around physically. I mean, in this particular thing, you are the best judge. So give yourself the time, space, resources. Resources कैसे आएंगे? That you'll have to work. Put extra hours. There's no harm in it. Those extras, nobody can steal those extra work hours from you. Nobody can steal that. I've seen on social media, a lot of people talk about बहुत ज़्यादा काम कराया. Or if some employer says, yeah, you guys have to work a little harder, then there is this jung against them. Please don't take that like that. If you put that, nobody is going to steal that from your kitty. It's only going to add up to your own experiences. And whatever I'm saying right now, there is not an iota of exaggeration in that. It's what either I've gone through it or I've seen that happening with somebody else. Not necessarily everything should happen to you, right? कभी दूसरों से देख के सीख लो, so that's far better actually. You're a better person. Anybody else? All right, I'll be most glad.
That's it. So, on behalf of the OCS, I would like to thank our guest, Ms. Sanchita, for taking the time to come here today and share experiences with us. We're extremely grateful for everybody attending the session, and I hope that you've enjoyed this event. That you've been useful from ma'am. Special thanks to Dr. Michael SCR for making time to work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being a very patient audience. Lunchtime ho gaya. I knew that you guys would be feeling a little sleepy and hungry. But my pleasure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
With young kids.
Sir? Sir?
Naveen sir.
Yeah. Like,
Can we just have a picture?
Of course. I will be.
Guys, can we have a picture? Can you please move here?
Everybody please come forward.
Chance.
Okay, so I want you to